farther we get away from that discomfort, farther we get away from actually living life, and the farther we get away from our true authentic self. See, they say that the conscience is the authentic voice of God. And that's what I believe. I believe the conscience is our higher self talking to us and guiding us. The higher self, the universe, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it. I believe it's our higher self on the guiding us to become the person that we're meant to be. We rarely listen to our conscience because our conscience is after that spiritual growth, that personal growth. And that usually only happens through the discomfort. But we want to avoid that discomfort. We want to go to the comfort. So we end up listening to that other voice. I call that voice the ego. The ego is after comfort. The ego is after safety, security. The ego runs from the fear, where our higher self, that consciousness, leads us straight into the unknown, straight into everything that we naturally just don't want to do. And so we end up ignoring that voice, and we get farther away from actually living. This is why so many people are depressed, sad. This is why so many people are in the mental states that they're in. This is why so many people have these mental illnesses. It's because they're choosing to not listen to that voice, the conscience. Life is all about growth. I've been on the search for the meaning of life ever since I could remember. I questioned everything in church. I questioned everything in school, everything in science. I questioned everything that came across my path as to why we're here. And throughout my spiritual journey, I've understood that we're here for one simple reason, and it's to grow. Each life, we grow more and more. Each life, we're supposed to grow more and more. It's like our conscience is guiding us to grow more and more. And when we avoid that discomfort, when we avoid the consciousness, when we avoid our conscience, when we avoid that authentic voice of our higher self that's guiding us, we die more and more and more because we're not growing. We're not growing. We're not living out the true meaning of life, which is that growth, because we keep avoiding the discomfort. See, it took me a long time to understand that. It took me a long time to realize that the growth, the pain, that the discomfort is there for that reason. I used to always ask everyone that I knew, did God allow suffering? See, I grew up in a really Christian household. It was church every Sunday, church on Saturdays, church during the week, Bible study during the summers, vacation Bible school during the summers. It was church all the time. And I always had one question that never got answered. Why does God allow suffering? And the answer I always got didn't make sense to me. It was, well, because God wants to test your loyalty. He wants to test your faith. And to me, that just seemed fucking egotistical as fuck. Though there's a supreme higher being that wants to test our loyalty to him, so he puts us through hell to see if we're going to stay true to him. That don't fucking make sense to me. Fuck that. I ain't taking that answer. I realized it was something so simple, that suffering exists because it has to exist, because it's the only way we can grow. Suffering exists because adversity, challenge, struggle exist, and we choose to resist it. That's why suffering exists. Challenge, struggle, adversity, that has to exist because that's what makes us grow. And so this pain that you're going through right now, this struggle, this adversity, it's here for a reason. Your conscience is going to guide you through it, but it's going to require that you go into that place that you don't want to go. Those places that you're afraid of going, where you fear, those places that make you uncomfortable. It's going to require that you go there. And when you start doing, when you realize that when you start doing that, you're going to realize that you're going to start feeling more and more alive. More and more, you're going to become more and more aligned with your conscience, with that authentic voice.